Abuja and Lagos myself, and I honestly look forward to go back. Hopefully that won't take too long to happen. Um, Nigerians are the second largest population of international students on campus. So we do have a very healthy and supportive Nigerian community on campus. Some have graduated and are also working with us at JIBC. So yeah, I'll go over a quick slide to introduce you a little bit more about JIBC, and then we can have a conversation if you have any questions. So JIBC is Canada's leading public safety educator. And you will start understanding a little bit of what we do and the programs that we offer in a second. They're very focused on justice and public safety. We're almost 50 years old. The photo that you see here on the right is one of our campus seen from the top. And we train roughly 41,000 students every year. Now, most of our students are domestic. When I say domestic, this would be new Canadians, permanent residents, or citizens that were born here. And in terms of international students, we have about 500 from 25 different nationalities. We have 6 campuses in British Columbia. The main one is in New Westminster. For those of you that might not be familiar with the Metro Vancouver area, this is just by Vancouver. It's just 30 minutes outside of Vancouver. The Metro Vancouver has about 2.5 million people. And yeah, our campus is just 30 minutes away from Vancouver. This is where most international students will be studying. Okay, it's based in Westminster. We have 2 covered gymnasiums here on the side. There's a free gym on campus, a little pond where students can eat their lunch, relax, study. There's an auditorium, a library, a bunch of classroom spaces and offices, meeting rooms. There's even a shooting range on campus, and that's because we are the Police Training Institute. Okay, right here on the top right corner, there is a community center. It's an aquatic center. So students can pay $5 as a day use and have access to a bunch of different pools, sauna, what else? Gyms, basketball courts, and even take classes of arts, dance, and so on. Now, when I mentioned that JIBC is very focused on programs related to justice and public safety, these are the main areas of programs that we offer. Inside of each area, there are a few different credentials, a few different programs, but the main areas are related to firefighting, emergency management, primary care paramedicine and health science, and law enforcement studies and investigation. The other courses, there's somewhat ongoing professional development opportunities for current professionals, but the ones that I mentioned are kind of the main umbrellas. And I'll come back to the programs in a second. Again, just to highlight, so you can start having a visual understanding of how New Westminster looks like. This is a photo by during winter. It's a city by the river. It's actually the first city to be founded around the region here. It's older than Vancouver. And again, it's just 45 minutes from our campus to downtown. I mentioned that was 30 minutes, and it is if you go by train or car. It's just that the cities depends where you want to go, and the cities a bit longer, but it's very accessible. There's a bunch of schools if you're coming here with kids. There's even another college called Douglas College, just 5 minutes away. The main advantage of being located just a bit outside of Vancouver is really the cost of living. We're talking about at least 24-25% cheaper to live outside of Vancouver. At the same time, you have access to the mountains, you have access to the ocean, you have access to the vibrant nightlife of Vancouver. It's very accessible while you're saving money. So it's a great spot for someone new to the country to come in. One of the highlights of JIBC is really the outcomes of our students when they go to the job market. Because the programs are so niche and we're so interconnected with public jobs, We have a better than average employment statistics. So when you look at the bigger number, these are the average for a student graduating in a 2-year program in a public school, a public college or university here in British Columbia. We are also a public institute. And then when you look at the small bubble mark, that's how our students perform against the average. So you can see that more of our students are working. They have a slightly higher median hourly wage and a much lower unemployment rate. Okay, and that's because again the programs are very niche, they're very specialized, they're very hands-on. We train students to the job market, so they're employment ready once they graduate. Once you come here, we will be ready to support you with all things related to adapting to the job market in Canada, making friends, taking care of your mental health. So this is how a regular semester, a regular month could look like during an academic semester. We have resume workshops, cover letter workshops. We teach about social media and improving your online presence for job search and developing your personal branding. We talk about budgeting, taking care of your mental health, leadership workshops. You can do mock-up interviews to develop your interview skills. And again, some students, they already come with an amazing baggage of amazing professional experience, a lot of master's degrees and so on, but from different countries. And I can tell you that different countries have different ways of preparing their resumes, their cover letters, doing interviews, and even how to approach, follow up with the job. There's also a series of some fun events and engaging activities that we do for students to make friends and take care of their mental health. All right, so let's jump into the programs that we're going to cover today. JIBC has over 120 different programs. No, but I'm focusing on the ones that are eligible for the study permit and the post-graduation work permit. So once you come at JIBC, you will study on average for 2 years, and you will get a work permit, a post-graduation work permit for up to 3 years after you graduate. So we're talking about 5 years in Canada, and during those 5 years, usually students have the chance to figure out a way to stay if that's what they want to do. Let's talk about the Law Enforcement Studies program. There are 3 credentials. The first one will be a diploma, undergraduate, and then a bachelor's degree. It's a 4 years. I know that you see 2 years here, but we're talking about 2 plus 2. So the first 2 years a diploma, the last 2 years of the bachelor's degree is, the last 2 years are a bachelor's degree. And then we have the post-baccalaureate diploma. This is the most popular program that we have for international students. They're required to have completed a degree, a bachelor's degree from back home. Now, we do have another 2 programs that, in theory, they are eligible for study permit and post-graduation work permit. However, they're currently closed for international students. There is this one, there's just too much demand from the domestic market. There's just too many domestic students that are applying, and we're having a hard time to find seats for them. And then we have the post-baccalaureate diploma that is currently under revision. We're adding a practicum term, a co-op, as part of the program. So we hope to, in 2026, to reopen the programs for recruitment. Now, let's jump into the law enforcement studies. Again, think about these programs as a mix of police foundation, law foundation, introduction to the Canadian systems here, the Canadian laws, Canadian criminal justice, administrative law, civil law. So there's a bunch of courses that are related to law, policing, psychology, social work, conflict resolution. Okay. There are 10 courses per year. So in a 2-year program, excuse me, in a 2-year program, students will be studying 20 courses. Starting with the diploma and bachelor's degree. These are 2 years and 4 years, depending on how long you want to study. On average, it will cost around about $18,000. Okay. The undergrads, anyone with a high school degree can apply. And these are the only two that students will have to write a recommendation letter, a letter of interest, and they'll ask for references, 2 references from employers, former instructors, maybe a coach if you play a team sports, and things like that. Now, the most popular program that we have for international students would be the post-baccalaureate diploma. It costs around $18,000. It's a 2-year program. And again, 20 courses. I say again the number of courses because you find some postgraduate programs that will have 13, 15, 17 courses. So when you're comparing what you're paying for, make sure you compare how much education you're getting back. Now, anyone with a bachelor's degree can apply. However, we usually see a trend among the profile of the applicants. They usually have a background in law, criminology. I think this will be the primary audience. So people with a background in policing, criminology, forensic analysis, and lawyers. We have quite a few lawyers from Nigeria. Now, we do have students that have a background in social work, psychology, counseling, political science, policy studies. What I usually say is that the best way to understand if these programs are for you, you can reach out to Skyned, or you can go online, look at our website, find the program, and see the courses that are part of the program. You can, by reading the course content, it's really just a small summary. You can see if this one is for you. Just to reinforce, so if you're a high school student, you go for the diploma, 2-year diploma. If you have completed maybe a higher national diploma, a 2-year, 3-year higher national diploma, that's not officially considered a bachelor's degree here, you have the option to either start from the diploma, or you can go to the bachelor's degree. So you skip year 1 and 2, you go straight into year 3 and 4, and you graduate from a bachelor's here in Canada. This will also help you count more points towards immigration. Now, if you already have a bachelor's degree, you can go straight to the post-baccalaureate diploma. You may be asking, what are the employment opportunities? What kind of jobs can I get as soon as I get there, and then once I graduate? So what you see here on the screens are jobs that anyone with the ability to work in Canada can start working right away. Sorry, I see people here on the wait room, so I'm just letting them in. If you have a background in law, perhaps you're a lawyer back in Nigeria, you have worked in law firms, most likely you will want to stay in the same field. So you can start working right away as a paralegal, legal assistant, contract administrator. You can work in HR, preparing, hiring agreements, issuing job offer letters. You can work in compliance, fraud prevention, perhaps for mortgage companies, credit cards, banks. And then if you want to work in jobs more related to security, you can work in airports as airport screening. You can work as law prevention. You can work for the BC Public Service. They look after all the casinos that we have here. You can work for casinos. You can work as invigilator. You can work as a park ranger, as a mobile parking patrol officer. So there's a bunch of different jobs. What I usually say is that if you want to become a lawyer, there's also a pathway for you to become a lawyer. We have quite a few students that have gone through the process and are now lawyers. Talking about international students that were lawyers back home that wanted to become a lawyer here in Canada. There's an organization called NCA. They're in charge of looking at your transcript, and they'll probably ask you to take a few more courses. The advantage for you in Nigeria, if you're a lawyer, is that you follow the common law system, which is the same one that we follow here. It's way easier than someone coming from Latin America, for example, that follows the civil law. Okay. And yes, we have a few students that have gone through the process and became a lawyer. We're talking about taking 8 additional courses and having to write an exam, pass the bar. And the students that passed, they usually work as mentors for future students wanting to do the same process. Just to give an idea of real jobs and how much you could get paid as a paralegal, legal assistant, we're talking about somewhere between what, $65,000 to $92,000 per year. And again, these jobs don't require you to be a lawyer. Of course, if you are probably slightly overqualified. But you know, coming from abroad, unfortunately, law, medicine, psychology, physiotherapists, these are licensed careers that it's not so easy to move around. It requires some recertification in a new country. Now, after you become a permanent resident in Canada, you can consider also applying for any sort of law enforcement jobs. There are different organizations, different agencies that will have their own hiring process, their own requirements. But generally speaking, there's no age limit. There are jobs that are more on the admin side and some that are more on the field. Again, once you become a permanent resident, you have access to a broader range of jobs related to law enforcement. Let's talk about awards and scholarships. So the first one that I would like everybody to know is that we do have an entrance award of $1,000 available for all international students at the moment. So if you are from Nigeria, West Africa, you can apply and you will likely get a $1,000 entrance award. This will be applied as tuition credit in your student account. We are also allowing our international students to take this course. It's a 1-month certificate. You take the course online, usually costs $1,000, okay? But we're letting our international students take the course for free. This will improve your employability as soon as you get here. So for any job related to security, as a bodyguard, as a working in an airport, in a mall, in an organization, in a casino, okay, installing security camera as a locksmith, you need to have this license. And just to give you an idea how popular this license is, it's a high turnover type of career, but there are close to 20,000 people that take this license every year, and they all pay. But we're letting our international students take the course for free, so they can improve their chances of getting a job right away. Now, for those that apply, the fall intake is already closed for most programs. For those that apply for the January intake, we are giving a refund of the application fee. So you do have to pay online when you apply, because there's no way around it. You have to type in your credit card. It's $150. But we're giving the money back as a credit on your student account once you show up for classes, once you enroll. So you're also saving $150. Once you get here, there are a series of awards and scholarships for current students. Okay, some will be based on academic excellence, so based on your GPA, and some will be they'll have other requirements. We also have an emergency funding. Let's say if you run into any medical issue, or if you have to maybe fly home due to an emergency, you can reach out to the financial aid office, and they'll guide you through perhaps emergency funds that you could apply. All right, to summarize, what do we have available for international students at the moment? programs that are eligible for study permit. They're eligible for the post-graduation work permit. They're focusing law and law enforcement. Okay, roughly speaking, they cost around $18,000 per year, and we have a $1,000 entrance award that anyone can apply and get it. We are refunding the application fee, and we're allowing students to take one additional certificate, a short certificate related to basic security training for them to get a job as soon as they get here. English requirement. Well, we ask for IELTS 6.5 with no score less than 6.0. Now, for Nigerians and West Africans, I believe we accept WAEC C4, okay, as your high school grade, or if you have completed a higher national diploma in English or a bachelor's degree, that's it. You don't need to do anything else. All we need to look at your transcripts. We need a color copy of your transcripts and the certificate of completion. Again, you likely don't need to take a third-party English test, and that by itself, you're already saving probably $350. How to apply? That's where Skyned comes in. They're an expert on submitting applications to schools in Canada, but applications done online through the portal from the province of British Columbia. You will send in a copy of your transcripts, your passport. Once you qualify, you receive an offer letter, and you will be invited to pay a commitment deposit. It's a $5,000 confirmation commitment deposit. Now, with that, you will receive the letter of acceptance and the provincial attestation letter. It's a document that you need to apply for the visa. Those two documents go together, and then you apply for your visa. If hopefully will be approved, but if it's denied, you will get the $5,000 100% back. Okay, we don't charge any admin fee, any processing fee. We give all the money back. Sometimes the banks charge a couple fees here and there, but we refund everything that we get. Before we open the microphone or the chat to questions, I'll just play a quick 30-second video, and you will have a better idea of the careers and that we train at JIBC and the possible areas of work.
Dear candidate, this letter is your official offer of admission to your program of choice at the Justice Institute of British Columbia.
Sorry.
This is a demanding path. It requires dedication, a strong work ethic, and a real desire to challenge yourself. It won't be easy, but you'll leave here with the tools to make a real impact. You will grow beyond your limits, beyond your expectations. This is just the beginning.
Okay, I was playing with the chat, the video got paused, and I apologize for that. Alrighty. Now, this is the part that I would like to invite you to type your questions in the chat, or maybe raise your hand. We can unmute the mic if you have any questions.
All right, thank you very much, Rod, for that wonderful presentation. So at this moment, we'll be taking questions. So if you have questions, please, you can type in the chat box or raise your virtual hand. We'll ask you to unmute, and you'll be able to ask your question. So please, if you have any question, go ahead and raise your virtual hand or type in the chat box.
Okay, so while perhaps people are looking at maybe figuring out how to type questions, and if anyone has any, I'll just bring back to highlight the programs that we have available for international students. Again, JIBC is very focused on programs related to law, justice, emergency management, paramedicine, firefighting. I did mention before that we are the Police Training Institute, and that's why we have the name, the Justice Institute. 48 years ago, when we were founded by the province of British Columbia, we were created to be the Police Training Institute. So up until today, after a police officer is hired by Vancouver, Burnaby, New Westminster, Surrey, these are all the cities around us, they come back in a uniform with fake blue guns to get trained at JIBC for, I believe it's about 8 months. But again, these are restricted trainings only after you get hired. What people would do to qualify for those jobs, they will take one of the law enforcement studies program. That's why the diploma, we admit about 120 students every term, and 85, 90% of the students are domestic. These are usually young Canadians that want to become some sort of police officer. Whereas on the postgraduate programs, most of the students are international lawyers or criminologists, social workers, psychologists, okay? We also train all the correction officers, sheriffs, transit police, and we have a series of courses around mediation of family conflicts. Now, those are great courses for lawyers, but unfortunately, they don't meet the requirement imposed by Immigration Canada for the study permit and the work visa after graduation. That's why I don't focus too much on them, but you're welcome to have a look at our website and see all the courses that we have. Some you could take online from home if that makes sense for you, or yeah, or if you're interested in relocating to Canada, these would be the courses that I would recommend.
Okay, so I think we have a couple of questions in the chat box already. Let me read them out. One from Basnowi Eze. Thanks for the presentation. Please, are there any courses for medical professionals at JIBC? I think you already answered this.
Yeah, this is a great question. And I will go back perhaps to show you this, okay? So the first course is related to primary care paramedicine, perhaps what you would call in Nigeria as an emergency medical responder or emergency medical technician, okay? Not all countries have paramedics. These are the people that work in ambulances, keeping people well from where the accident or where they got picked up and taking them to the hospital and handled to doctors and nurses. We are the only certified paramedic academy in British Columbia by the health authorities. And it's an extremely popular program, high paying. In just 1 year, you get a license to practice paramedicine. Now, this program was open up until September 2025. Now, the school has decided to close because there's just too much demand from domestic students. So we need to prioritize Canadians that will stay here, and there's a shortage of paramedics. So that's what we're doing right now. Hopefully by mid to the end of next year, we could reopen this program for international students, and you could apply. Again, 1 year program in health. There's a 3-month practical term. So we find you a placement inside an ambulance with the hospital for you to develop your hands-on experience. You will get a 1-year work permit after completing this program, and very likely you get a job, and you could also apply to stay here under some the provincial, it's called provincial nomination programs. It's a way for you to immigrate to Canada. But yeah, for now it's closed. Hopefully next year we'll open again.
All right, thank you very much. And there's a second question. What psychology courses are available for international students?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we do the law enforcement studies. If you go to the website and look at the courses that are part of the program, there are a few psychology courses. In terms of related to understanding criminal behavior. No, we don't have let's say a psychology program per se. So the programs we have a few psychologists that are taking the law enforcement studies, and they want to work in something related to forensic psychology. Okay, so that could be a pathway for you if that interests you.
Okay, here's another question. Says, do you have programs with postgraduate work permits?
Yes, we do. So all the programs that we covered today, you will get a 3-year post-graduation work permit. That's the work visa that you get after you complete your program.
Great. So there's another question from Kelvin, and this is a great question. Kelvin is asking, how do you grade East African students when it comes to English language grading? I'm guessing this question is coming from Kenya, because we also have our Kenya participants here. So I will let you answer the question.
Beautiful Kenya. I haven't had the chance to go there yet, but I do hope to go. Yeah, so Kenya is considered, it is an English-speaking country that's recognized by JIBC. So the same rules would apply for any African country that it is recognized as an English-speaking country. The usual would be Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana. So you can meet our English requirement with your English 12 or equivalent to English 12. You probably will do the A levels back in Kenya, if I'm not mistaken. It has to be equivalent to English 12 with a C plus, or if you already have a bachelor's degree or you have completed 3 years of education at the post-secondary level, all we need to see is your transcript, okay? And with that, you don't need to take a third-party English test. You would already meet our English requirements.
All right, thank you very much. We also have a question here. I think you already answered the first question as regards to the English test getting waived. I'll just go to the second question that says, are there top UP programs for qualified paramedics here in Kenya with, let's say, certificates and diplomas?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the best program that we have will be the primary care paramedicine. Okay. The problem is that right now is not open, is not accepting applications of international students. Now, I believe we will start accepting applications around September 2026 for September start date, which means that by January 2026, okay, so 6 months from now, they could already apply. Now, this is not confirmed. We're still waiting for a position from the School of Health to determine if we have the capacity to start accepting international students again. But if we do, or when we do, I strongly recommend this 1-year certificate in primary care paramedicine. Most of the paramedics working in British Columbia were trained at JIBC. So it's a great school for you to get practical training, hands-on. Again, we'll find a placement for you. We'll put you inside an ambulance for 3 months for you to develop your network, your hands-on work experience. And then you'll get a 1-year work visa. You will get a license to practice health in Canada, which is not easy. Yeah, and hopefully if you want to stay and keep working in Canada, you also find a way to immigrate through this program.
All right, thank you very much for that. Next question is, does the institution offer services to help connect students who are done with the program with recruitment agencies, private or government?
Yeah, that's a great question. We do, I believe, 2 career fairs per year. And that's what we're talking about. Career fairs, we're talking about bringing all the government agencies, talking about police departments, firefighters, emergency response agencies, and private contractors as well. We definitely bring them in and they do an exhibition. Students have the chance to go to different booths and network with them. On top of that, I cover some of the workshops that we run to get students prepared for the let's call the standard here in North America. Make sure that the resume meets the standard. They understand what to write in cover letters. They do mock-up interviews. And then anytime that we come across a job opportunity, when I say we, we're talking about the program area. So the people that run the programs. We have an online hub, right? That's part of the learning platform here that students have access. Their student portal. We post job opportunities there. And I think the most important, because JIBC is such a unique niche school, honestly, worldwide, I think employers that look for people in the jobs, the type of jobs that we train, they're constantly looking for students that graduate from JIBC. And once you apply, you'll definitely be recognized.
All right, thank you very much. I think that's all the questions from the chat box right now. I don't know if anyone has any other question to ask. If you have any question, you can raise your virtual hand, then we request that you're mute so that you can speak. Okay, there's a new question here. Okay, the new question just came in now. He said, do you offer scholarships? I think we have one of our comers here.
There you go. Good question. So we do have an entrance award. So this is a scholarship that we can commit to you even before you get your visa. So it's an incentive. It's a $1,000 tuition credit entrance award. You get a letter. You will use that letter to apply for the visa. So you have to demonstrate. Yeah, you don't need to demonstrate. Let's say you demonstrate. You kind of save $1,000 when you're trying to meet the requirements, the financial requirements for the visa. And once you get here, you will be saving $1,000 on your first year. Okay. Besides that, as I mentioned, we're letting students take the basic security training. It's a 1-month certificate. We're letting them take it for free, and they save $1,000 plus they get to work. They have access to a bunch of different jobs related to security right away, which these jobs tend to be very flexible. This is important when you're a student because your primary, I guess, objective here in Canada is to study, and the course schedule can vary from one term to the other. So having flexibility in your workplace is very important. And then we are also refunding the application fee. Okay, so the $150 application fee that you pay upfront, you will get this money back as soon as you show up and you register for your first semester. So these are the scholarships that we have even before you get here. Now, after you're enrolled, you're in your first, second, third semester. If you're doing well with your academics, you can get another $1,000. Okay. And then for students that perhaps face unforeseen, unexpected situations, we do have an emergency funding as well.
All right, thank you very much, Rod. There's another question here. Does this program allow dependents to come with you? This is a question from Ola.
Hi, Ola. That's a great question. And well, in the past, yes, but last year, immigration changed the regulation. So unfortunately, our programs do not allow, they will not give the spouse or the partner a work permit. They will not qualify them for a work permit. Neither you would be able to bring your kids and study at the secondary level for free. So if you have a kid, if you have a partner, you want them to come with you, be able to work and study, you would have to look for a master's or a PhD. No, we do have a few students that have families back home, and they come by themselves first until they get a job and they become a permanent resident and eventually sponsor the family. Uh, but that's a personal choice that you have to make.
All right. Thank you very much for that answer. I'm guessing Anne is also one of our latecomers because she is asking, do you have any midwifery courses if one is interested in midwifery?
Yeah, for sure. Not a great question. Unfortunately, we don't have anything related to it's so specific as midwifery. We have paramedicine, okay? We have advanced care paramedicine, that again is only open for domestic students, mostly because the program, the second year, the advanced care paramedicine, it's primarily online. And then we have health science, okay? That one is also primarily online. It will be the second year after you take paramedicine. So we don't promote so much for international students. Um, yeah, I guess the only one in health that would work for international students is in primary care paramedicine. There's also a short certificate called Emergency Medical Responder, the EMR, Emergency Medical Responder. It's a 1 month course that's actually a prerequisite for anyone going to paramedicine. Okay, it's sort of a first aid course. Again, it's not related to midwifery, but just to explain the courses that we have in health.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much, Rod, for taking time out. I believe we don't have any more questions to ask. For those who still have questions and are ready to apply to JIBC, to any of their law enforcement programs, please reach out to us at info@skynedconsult.com or info@unicollegelink.com. Or you can also visit our website, our portal at unicollegelink.com also. Please reach out to us. We can always have more discussions about JIBC. Should in case after today you have questions about JIBC, reach out to us and we'll meet with you and give you more information about the school. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Rod, for taking your time out to join us today. We really do appreciate that. From everyone at Skyned, I will say a very big thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. Thanks for being here, and hope to see you in Canada one of these days.
Yes, yes. That is the goal.
Yes. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Bye for now.